Imagine a world where genetics didn't just explain why your eyes are blue, but could also predict your chances of acing a marathon or developing a new disease. That's the world Sir Kenneth Mather helped unlock.
It's wild to think about, isn't it? Today, we're diving into Mather's life, a man who bridged the gap between classic Mendelian genetics and the messy, beautiful reality of traits that change by degrees.
Absolutely. We'll introduce you to Mather, trace his journey from Manchester to international acclaim, and explore why his obsession with biometrical genetics was such a game changer.
Stick with us as we break down his early influences, the founding of a whole new research unit, his legacy in education, and how a prize in his name still inspires cutting-edge research today.
So let's rewind to the early days. Mather started out studying botany at Manchester. Not exactly the obvious path to genetic stardom.
Right. And after his BSc in 1931, he jumped into a PhD at the University of London. That's where the seeds of his obsession with genetics really started to grow.
What fascinates me is how quickly he shifted gears within a few years. He was already collaborating with some big names in the field.
Exactly, and it wasn't long before he found himself under the wing of Ronald Fisher, one of the titans of statistical genetics. That mentorship changed everything for him.
Getting guidance from Fisher must have felt like learning to paint from Picasso, but with more math and fewer berets.
That's such a great image. Fisher's influence really pushed Mather to see genetics through the lens of statistics. Instead of just tracking traits, he wanted to measure variation in populations, down to the numbers.
And that's where biometrical genetics comes in, right? Trying to explain those messy, continuous traits that didn't fit the tidy Mendelian boxes.
Yeah, and Mather was all in. After a fellowship at the Rockerfeller Institute in 1937, he came back to head up genetics at the John Innes Institute, already thinking about how to blend stats and biology.
Then in 1948, Mather made history as the first professor of genetics at Birmingham. That's not just a title, it's a declaration that genetics had arrived as a field.
Totally, and what's even cooler is that he didn't just rest on the title. He set up a dedicated unit for biometrical genetics, an actual home for this kind of research.
He must have been so driven. Creating a whole branch of study and mentoring the next wave of geneticists, no small feat.
And it wasn't just academics. He published over 280 papers, gave dozens of broadcasts, and wrote books that brought genetics to a wider world.
But his story doesn't stop in the lab. Mather took his vision for genetics into leadership. He even became vice chancellor at Southampton in the 1960s.
That move was huge. While at Southampton, he established a brand new medical school, so he wasn't just shaping research, but also the way future doctors would think about genetics.
And after that stint, he wasn't done. He returned to Birmingham, continued teaching, and kept racking up honors, including a knighthood in 1979.
Honestly, talk about a career that spanned every part of science, from raw discovery to building institutions. His influence is everywhere you look in modern genetics.
So what happens when someone this influential passes on? In Mather's case, Birmingham set up a prize in his honor, a way to keep his spirit alive.
That's right. The Kenneth Mather Prize isn't just a trophy, it's a real driver for young researchers. It encourages students to push the boundaries in biometrical and population genetics.
It's like he's still challenging the next generation to go deeper, to find the patterns in the chaos of biology.
Every year, a new winner proves that Mather's drive to bridge math and biology is far from over. His legacy really is living science.
So, let's wrap up with 3 big takeaways. First, Mather's work showed us that genetics isn't just about single genes. It's about understanding complex patterns in entire populations.
Second, his passion for biometrical genetics pushed the field to embrace statistics and rigorous data analysis skills every modern scientist needs.
And third, education and mentorship were at the heart of his legacy. He built institutions and inspired generations to keep pushing the frontiers.
If you're studying genetics or even just curious about how data shapes science, dig into Mather's story or check out the research inspired by his prize. It's a blueprint for making a real impact.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who loves science history and keep exploring the living roots of genetics.
We'll catch you next time for more stories of scientific breakthroughs that change the way